And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. And we're going to do so today by continuing a theme that I started yesterday, because I think I only gave you some of the information that you need to hear. And what I want to do is I want to give you the rest of the information. Now, if you've missed yesterday's show, not a problem. What you can do is you can go to lifestylesunlimited.com. When you get there, click on podcast. It might say radio. Either one will get you to the same place. And what you're going to see is you're going to see all the content that Lifestyles Unlimited publishes regarding our radio shows. Now, our radio shows are actually more than this radio show. So you're going to see something called the Del Walmsley Radio Show. He's the founder and CEO of Lifestyles Unlimited. He founded the company over 35 years ago in Houston, Texas. And he's still an active member of the organization, still helping people like you and me change the trajectory of our lives. And it's a beautiful thing. You'll also find the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. And that's what I want you to hone in on. I want you to see that you can go back a ways and you can get a lot of our content. But what you're looking for is you're looking for a show that published effectively yesterday that talks about mentors and goals and objectives. Now, we kind of went one over the world yesterday, and what I want to do is I want to kind of step away from the one over the world, and I want to bring us back to the planet. Does that make sense? I want to bring us right to where we're at. And where I think you're at is a place where I have been, where almost every Lifestyles Unlimited member has been also. It is a place of frustration. It is a place where you arrived in your life after starting in a certain place, having certain goals and objectives in your life, and then things change, right? Things change. A lot of these goals and objectives that you set for yourself at an early age, when people were encouraging you to think about the future and what you could grow up to be, right? And a lot of that was based on how you could do in school, right? Because that's what they taught you. They taught you that in order to be successful in the United States of America and in many places around the globe, you had to go to school. And in going to school, you had to get good grades. And with those good grades, you needed to advance to the next level of schooling. Now, in the United States, it usually starts with elementary school, right? And then you advance into middle school, and then you advance into high school. And then for many Americans, the education stops there, because a lot of you just got frustrated with how education is presented. It's kind of like one size fits all, right? Or at least now, last time I was in high school was over 40 years ago. I'm just being real with you. So I'm sure things have changed a little bit in high school since I went through high school. But I will tell you this, over 40 years ago, it was still kind of one size fits all. The education they were laying down was the education you were supposed to pick up. And they may have given you some choices in the curriculum that you took, but at the end of the day, you had somebody teaching you a set curriculum about a set subject matter that may or may not have helped you later in life, right? Now, they always told us that education was designed to teach us critical thinking skills. And I believe that. I believe that education taught me critical thinking skills. But I think my most critical thinking skills came from the concept that I didn't always trust the education that was being presented. Because even back then, education came with a spin. It came with the educator's spin. Whether the educator was conservative, whether they were liberal, whether they were straight down the middle, maybe they just didn't believe in politics at all, you still got their opinions mixed in with the education. And I found that a little frustrating. And part of the reason I wanted to go to school was I wanted to be successful. And I wanted to learn those things that were going to make me successful in life. And I got through high school, graduated, and I had a choice. Go to college, just like you had that choice. Go to college or go into the workforce. Now, my mind had been conditioned that I had to do the college thing, that for whatever reason, if I didn't go to college, I was going to be a failure. That's really what I believed. That if I had just gone into the workforce, if I had gone to trade school or something like that, that would have been beneath me. I'm just telling you what I believed way back in the day. I don't believe that now, but I believed it then. And at the end of the day, I found a way to go to college. And I went through the college experience and I found more exposure to different topics. Some topics I found were fulfilling. Some topics I found were, I don't know, not so fulfilling. Maybe that's a nice way to put it. And I got to a point where I left education and I went to work full time. And a lot of the goals and objectives that I had set for myself as a young man evaporated at that point. Because, I mean, in my mind, I was going to be successful. But here's the result. I found myself in the United States Army. Yeah, you don't get rich serving in the United States Army. And I was supposed to get rich. So something wasn't working. In the next segment, I'm going to continue this story. Stick around. Welcome back to the show. You know, when I was a young man, we lived in pretty meager existence. We lived in an apartment. We didn't own a home. We drove around in used cars. Both of my parents worked. They worked in high-demand, low-paying jobs. That's kind of what was available to them back in the day. And they always talked in our family about how to be successful. Yet it appeared to me that my parents weren't that successful. Now, I'm not bagging on my parents. I'm just telling you how I was thinking back when I was a very, very young man. I had it in my mind, after watching television and being exposed to the world through the boob tube, if you will, I needed to be rich. I had to figure out a way to become rich because rich people had everything. And once I started to figure out that we weren't that rich, I decided that I was going to fulfill my life by becoming rich. So I thought part of that formulation was that I had to go to college. So I did. Now, my way to college was through the military. I couldn't afford to go to college. There was no money. I didn't have any money. My parents didn't have any money. Nobody in my relatives wanted to give me money to go to college. I applied for some scholarships. I got some scholarships. I didn't get enough scholarships to go to college. So I really thought right around that high school time frame, my dream was done. Then the U.S. Army shows up with the 4-year scholarship. Cha-ching! I can go to college now. Yay! So I go to college. But there's a stipulation with taking that money from the government. It says you will serve in the United States Army for a set number of years in a set type of status, and that's the minimum requirement. For me, it was an 8-year service obligation with a minimum of 4 years on active duty, which could be converted to all reserve time at the needs of the Army. Not my needs, but the Army's needs. So I left college, and I had a job. I was a warrior. I had been trained to be a warrior through college. That's part of what ROTC does for you. It teaches you what you need to know to serve in the United States Army. And then after you graduate college and you commission, you go to a school where they teach you your actual job in the United States Army. And then you go on from there. Now, serving in the United States Army is not a path to becoming rich. If I really wanted to become rich, I would have figured out a way to get into corporate America, but I couldn't figure out how to do that. And I had that service obligation. So, probably wasn't going to happen, right? And then I thought to myself, well, I'll just write out this service obligation. I can do my military time. I may not get rich in the process, but then I could go into the civilian workforce and I could get rich that way. But there was a problem. At about the 6-year mark, when I was contemplating leaving and going to what's considered inactive reserves, I realized I was actually pretty good at being an officer in the United States Army. And I'm not just saying that because I thought that. I'm saying that because my soldiers thought that. And I was encouraged, not by the leadership, but by, well, I guess technically the leadership, my subordinate leadership, to stick around. They wanted to be led by people like me. Okay. So I stuck around. And the retirement game plan that was made available to me was all I had to do was 20 years. 20 years of service in the United States Army. Getting the snot beat out of me every other week. That's all I had to do. And I would earn a pension. So I thought, well, I don't know any other way to survive future me. I don't know how to invest. They didn't teach me that in college. The Army didn't really teach me that either. So let's do this. In the meantime, I'll figure out how to invest on the side just in case the pension thing doesn't work out. Well, for me, I wound up spending 27 years in the United States Army. And then the Army retired me. Time for Al to go. So I earned a pension. But here was the problem. The pension paid me 1/3 of what I used to make when I was serving on active duty. I had a financial problem. Had to go back into the workforce. Even though I was retired from the Army, I was physically retired. I wasn't financially retired. You have to understand that distinction. That is a huge distinction. Physically retired? Yes. Financially retired? No. I couldn't live off the pension. There wasn't enough income. The only thing I knew how to do, and the only thing the Army taught me to do, was transition into civilian employment. So I thought, well, maybe this is my time to get rich. But it didn't work out that way for me. I found it difficult to penetrate into the civilian workforce at the age of 50, trying to lateral in with my skill sets. Corporate America, everybody else, they weren't looking for my skill sets. They had plenty of people with my skill sets that were internal to their organizations or internal to their industry. They didn't need me coming across from the Army, bringing them something they already had. So I found it difficult. Wound up taking a job, kind of a dead-end job, but I needed a job. And then I discovered Lifestyles Unlimited, like I mentioned in yesterday's show. in 2017. That was 3 years after I retired from the United States Army and had been working for at least 2 years of that 3 years. And I was miserable. I didn't like what I was doing. It was ineffective. It was inefficient. I knew it could be done much better, but nobody wanted to listen to me. And I was just looking for an exit strategy. And that's what Lifestyles Unlimited gave me, an exit strategy. Because what they did was they helped me understand that my personal goals and objectives needed to be in the forefront. And they really hadn't been. I was always doing like you do. I was always worried about the organization's goals and objectives. I was worried about everybody else's results other than mine. I figured everything would just work out for me. And when it didn't all just work out for me when I retired, I really felt like a failure. Felt like I left the family down, felt like I let myself down. It was bad. Took me a while to recover from that. But I did, with the help of Lifestyles Unlimited. So in the next segment, we're going to talk about you and your goals and objectives. Stick around. Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Al Gordon, just in case you forgot, and we're working on your financial freedom. And we're going to do so in this segment by talking about you. And let's talk about your goals and objectives. And let me take you back to yesterday's show if you heard it. If you didn't hear it, go to lifestylesunlimited.com. You can access all of our radio shows there. They're all archived on that website. I think we keep like the last 2 years worth of content available for you. Because I know there's people that are like me that want to go dig into content that's a little bit older so that you can kind of binge listen to it, right? And then you absorb all this content, and it's kind of like getting information on speed. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. What I'm really trying to share with you is I'm trying to share with you that your goals matter. Your objectives matter. What you are trying to accomplish in your life absolutely matters. But I don't think you have clear goals. I don't. I think your goals and your objectives are mired by somebody or something else's goals and objectives. And I think if you really sit back and you think about the things that you focus on, you think about the things that you concentrate on, there's very little you in there. And I think that's a problem. So what I want to do for you is I want to help you think through goals and objectives. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of a spin on it. I'm going to help you think through investing goals and objectives. Because if you want real results, it starts with the gray matter in between your ears. It really does. The first thing I want you to think about is the clarity and focus of your goals. No, I'm serious. Think about the clarity and focus of your goals. Your goals, not your organization's goals, your goals. Goals give you a clear picture of exactly what you want to achieve. They keep your time, energy, and money pointed at specific targets instead of scattering in every direction. That's important. And again, the emphasis needs to be on your goals and objectives. I realize you can't just take your organization's goals and objectives and, excuse me, and eject them from your mind. I understand that. You still have bills to pay. We haven't even gotten you to the point where you're a member of Lifestyles Unlimited and you can start correcting all this stuff. We're just in the stage where we're talking through all this stuff. Goals keep you motivated. Strong goals fire you up and keep you moving forward even when things get difficult. They consistently remind you of the rewards waiting on the other side. Things like more cash flow, more equity, more freedom, more control over your life. Because that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about weaning off the control of somebody else onto your life and giving you control back. Goals need to be measurable. They do. When you're working with specific numbers and deadlines, you can track exactly how you're doing. You'll know when you're winning, when you're not, and if you're not, you'll know you need to adjust. Yeah. And goals help you keep that all fine-tuned. Goals keep you accountable. They help you make your own decisions. They really do. You can look at your actions and quickly see whether they line up with where you say you want to go. That builds something called discipline. You know what discipline is. I certainly know what it is. I spent 27 years in the United States Army. I'm well aware of what discipline is. And if you don't have discipline in your life, get some. It's not that hard. Set some goals. That'll hold you accountable. You know what goals do for you with regards to strategic planning? They create your roadmap. Yeah, they do. They create your path forward. They show you the exact steps you need to take, whether it's saving for down payment money, whether it's researching the markets you want to invest in, whether it's building your team that's going to support you. And all this helps you stop guessing and start executing. Do you know that goals and objectives help you with risk management? They do. When you know what your targets are, you can spot potential problems early and build in protections. You can build contingency plans instead of reacting to panic situations. Goals, you know, they really just help you with long-term success. It's kind of like running a marathon. And I would say real estate investing is exactly like running a marathon. It's not like the stock market where you try and time a trade only to find out you missed it. Real estate is more of a long play, but it's a good long play that rewards you along the way. And if you have clear goals that help you see the big picture, such as passive income, financial independence, generational wealth, those clear goals will keep you steady through market ups and downs. And the good thing about real estate markets is they tend to be more up than they are down. Now, don't hold me to that because I don't control any of the markets. I control 0 of the markets. I'm just going off of what I've experienced in the past. And I think creating investing goals really helps you with your personal development. These goals that you set for yourself, they're going to help you grow. You'll learn new skills, you'll deepen your market knowledge, you'll build confidence and resilience that benefits every part of your life. So the bottom line is if you want to be consistently successful in real estate or just about anything you do, you have to set clear goals because they're going to give you direction, drive, and a practical plan to cut through the noise and complexity of the market. Now, some of you are thinking, wow, dude, you just laid down a lot. And I did. I just laid down a lot. It was all designed to get you to start thinking for yourself. Because I think that's one of the things that's been taken away from you. It was taken away from me. I mean, you try serving 27 years in the Army and think for yourself all the time. It's not easy to do. And I think corporate America is like that. I think certain forms of self-employment are like that. I think working for a nonprofit is like that. I think working for government is like that. And it needs to change. And you know where it changes, right? With you. 100% with you. When you get it through your brain that you want to change, that you want to set priorities for yourself, priorities that you will follow, priorities that will, well, change your life, you'll do it. But you got to make up your mind that that's what you want to do. Because I can't do it for you. Del Walmsley, the founder and CEO of Lifestyles Unlimited, can't do it for you. Nobody in this world can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. So take the bull by the horn. And when we come back in the next segment, I'll give you some examples of some real estate investing goals that I think could change your life. Stick around. Welcome back to the show. So you want to do it? You want to talk about some goals that you can set for yourself that can be powerful and actionable, organized by a time frame and a focus area? Well, let's do it. But here's what I want you to do. I want to make these, well, I just messed it up, didn't I? Because I said, I want to make. I can't do this for you, remember? You have to do it for yourself. So I want you to make them your own, write them down, and review them often. That's how it works. Now, if you're driving, don't try and write and drive. Pick up the show off the podcast when it comes out, off of lifestylesunlimited.com. Listen to it again, write it down then. I want you to stay alive. Very important to me that you stay alive. Very important to your family you stay alive. Very important to you, I'm sure. Yeah. All right. Short-term goals. These are goals that happen within, say, the next year, possibly 2 years. I want you to acquire your first rental property that delivers between $200 and $600 per month in cash flow per door and captures equity that doubles your cash out-of-pocket investment. And I want you to add 2 more rental properties to your portfolio within the next 12 months after you get the first one done. I want you to attend at least 3 real estate networking events every quarter. That's 1 a month. To build your contact list, to network with your fellow investors, and possibly uncover new opportunities. And I want you to listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show and the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show consistently, because we're an augmentation to what you're going to learn when you become a member of Lifestyles Unlimited. Let's talk about your medium-term goals. These are the goals that you should achieve in, say, the next 3 to 5 years after you accomplish the short-term goals. I want you to build a portfolio of at least 10 rental properties, each one generating a minimum of $200 upwards to $600 a month per door in cash flow, with equity that doubles your cash invested. So in other words, when I say that, equity that doubles your cash invested, if you put $25,000 into the deal, I want you to be able to capture at least $25,000 of additional equity. We'll teach you how this works and how to do this at Lifestyles Unlimited. I want you to purchase your first multifamily asset as an independent rental operator that produces at least $100 per door in cash flow. I want you to force appreciation. Yeah, I know you don't know what that means, but you will when you become a member of Lifestyles Unlimited. I want you to force appreciation on the property to increase income by 10%. That 10% boost does 2 critical things. It doubles your cash flow, and it sets up a refinance that pulls your original seed money back out, giving you an unlimited return on investment with zero of your own dollars left in the deal. I want you to expand into a new market by buying properties in a different city or possibly a different state. This causes you to diversify geographically. I want you to increase your net worth by at least $1 million through a combination of cash flow, equity capture, natural appreciation, principal pay down, and all the tax advantages that real estate's going to offer you. And I want you to continue to listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show and the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Show on a regular basis. Now let's talk about your long-term goals. These would be goals that you want to hit in 5 years and beyond. I want you to harvest the equity in your single-family rentals by selling or exchanging them and replacing that capital into multifamily assets that deliver $100 per door in cash flow and give you the power to force 10% or more appreciation on the asset. I want you to reach full financial independence so your real estate passive income completely covers all of your expenses. Oh, you know what happens when that happens? Your real estate retired. That means that job that you've been balancing with your real estate investing, that's taken all your time, not the real estate investing, it's the job that's taken all your time. Now you have an exit strategy. Oh, what's that, an exit strategy? It means you can quit the job and live off your passive income and be just fine. Or you can keep the job because maybe you like the job, in which case you keep working, you keep making money. No one says you can't do that. Or maybe you change jobs. Maybe you want to keep working, but you don't like that particular industry or that particular line of work. Lifestyles Unlimited members do that all the time. This is the point where you would regain control of your life. Very, very important component. I want you to invest as a passive investor into multifamily deals that return a minimum of 8% cash flow and return your capital in 3 to 5 years on a tax-free basis. I want you to build a lasting legacy by passing your real estate assets to the next generation when it's time, but you can get everything set up in the meantime, or to whatever causes you believe in if you don't plan or don't have a follow-on generation, because I want you to do smart legacy planning. And of course, I want you to continue to listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show and the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, because we're going to be with you along this path. Now, notice what I laid out for you was effectively a 5-year plan that could get you retired. But like I pointed out on yesterday's show, I'm not your mentor. I don't know your personal situation. I don't mentor over the radio. I can't mentor over the radio. Number one, it's not my role in Lifestyles Unlimited. My role is to educate you, to make you see that there's a better way. That's my role. My job is to point you in the right direction and allow you to make the adult decisions you need to make to decide whether or not membership in Lifestyles Unlimited is even the right thing for you to do. Now, I will tell you this. If you're 100% happy with your life right now, you don't mind the employer having control over your life. You don't mind not being in control of everything you do. Maybe Lifestyles Unlimited is not the right thing for you, because we would help you destroy that. But if you're not satisfied with the status quo, if you're not meeting the expectations you had of yourself as a young person. Maybe Lifestyles Unlimited is the way for you to go. Because I will tell you, after 27 years of serving in the United States Army and not getting rich because of it, and then working for government for 3 years after that, and not being fulfilled by that, and not realizing my goal of becoming rich. When I joined Lifestyles Unlimited in 2017, it all changed for me. And it can all change for you too. For me, it opened my eyes. I allowed Lifestyles Unlimited to educate me on the things that nobody else was educating me on. It allowed me to step away from a job that I had to take, but I didn't want. So now I live by my own rules. I don't have an alarm clock. I don't have commute traffic. I don't have any of the nonsense that I used to have. And you can be the same way. What you have to do, though, is you have to take a chance on Lifestyles Unlimited. Now, here's what I would do if I were you, because this is exactly what I did. So I know it works. Go to lifestylesunlimited.com. When you get there, you're going to see something that says free workshop. I want you to click on that. I want you to spend a little bit of time with Lifestyles Unlimited, getting educated on what we do and how we can help you. How we changed our investment trajectories in our lives with real estate. So go to lifestylesunlimited.com, click on free workshop, and let's get you going.
Thank you for listening to Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Ready for more of the map? Visit lifestylesunlimited.com. Explore our videos and articles. Click on the radio tab to access past show podcasts. View the radio show schedule and listen to our best of radio shows. Want to continue the conversation? Follow Lifestyles Unlimited on Facebook today. We want to meet you as well. Sign up for a free workshop at lifestylesunlimited.com. Until next time, remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.